I become a boxer, I've got a better power, maybe I should train. After 10 fights, where would I be at? What would I be getting paid?
I don't want to share that because it's not respectful to other guys who are boxers who are coming through. Because I'll tell you something about earning purses in boxing. You can box for your first 5-10 fights and fight on small hall shows, and you can be losing money. Boxers pay their manager, they pay their promoter, they pay to have the opponent come and fight them. Then they've got to pay the house or the promoter of these small hall shows to then put their to put the show on, put them on the show, and then whatever's left of their ticket money, they split with the promoter. So just say that could cost £5,000, £6,000, £7,000 for a 4-6 round fight. So not a big fight to get a journeyman in, pay your promoter manager. Then you could sell 200 tickets. That might cover 80% of the purse of the fight, of 80% of setting the fight up. But then you've got to give half of that to the promoter of the fight. So you might have £3-4 grand to put towards that £7 grand bill. And then you've got to find your own £3,000, £4,000 to fight. And that's before you're fighting for titles.
Wow.
So I don't want to be disrespectful and say what I'm earning to them guys. I'm very lucky to be earning money out of boxing. I was able to earn money from the very beginning when I was fighting on Matchroom's cards, but I understand a lot of small hall fighters out there haven't got that luxury, and there's some very, very talented ones out there. And I'm in a position now where I'm earning good money, and it's enough to live on, it's enough to have a nice house, it's enough to pay my bills, pay my mortgage, and hopefully as a heavyweight it will keep growing and growing. But it's a very, very hard life for boxers out there. So anyone who's thinking about starting boxing and being a professional, think about how hard them challenges are, because they're very, very real. And you could have 10 fights and be losing money for the whole first 10 fights. So there is a big gulf between for some fighters out there to cover.
So it's not just like a dream where you're at AJ and you just get up there and now you're getting 200 million for big fights. And
that's like 1 in a million people. You've probably got Anthony Joshua, Canelo, people like that, Bivol. They're the ones on that huge money, Usyk. But for guys who are just starting out, it's a long, long, hard road. And I saw another boxer talking about it. I can't remember his name, but you might see the glitz and the glamour and all the interviews and fighting on shows. But even the guys on Sky Sports, Matchroom and Queensbury, the ones just starting out, they're not all earning the fortune. They're earning enough to cover their costs for their camp, their sparring. They're in a better position than the small hall show guys, with the small hall promoters, but they've still got to cover costs. That's why sponsors are really important when you start off. And all through your career, you want to keep them people with you because they're people that supported you. But it's not an easy game, boxing, to earn money out of. And it's a very, very hard game. So to be doing it for free and sometimes paying to do it, you've got to have that dedication. And if it pays off, it pays off, but it doesn't always do that.
What made you choose boxing over rugby?
I love rugby as well. One of my dreams was to play it.
You look like a rugby player.
Yeah, I used to play a bit at university. Listen, I was never an amazing player, but I had a bit of natural ability to run with the ball and score. I was a good try scorer from my position. I played at Cooper's. I went to Marshall's Park in Romford. We didn't really have a rugby team. We had about 7 guys who wanted to play a bit, and we just found a few on the day to go and play these other schools. And I went to Cooper's for sixth form, and they used to play some of the good schools like St Joseph's and Bancroft, some good private schools, and we were like the state school that turned up and weren't expected to win too much, but we did win the Essex Cup a couple of times, and that was brilliant. And went to Exeter University, and it was just a different level of rugby, and I thought, wow, this is a new level. All these posh private school boys all coming in, really good guys. But I had to learn very quickly how to play, and I'd never been up in a line out before, didn't really know how to scrum, but I had natural ability running with the ball, and I made the fresh first team. So the first year's first team, I started getting in on the coattails of that, and by the second year, I just started boxing again. I just thought I'd do a bit of boxing for a bit of fitness, and then from there I had an amateur fight at the club, at the uni club, and won in round 1. Saw Dave Allen wanted a bit of sparring.
Yeah,
I thought, what an amazing thing that would be. Just say I've sparred Dave Allen, get the picture, like it's a bucket list thing. I love Dave Allen growing up, still do now. And
called him up a few times. I've seen a few of your interviews with him. Yeah. I know you're proud of saying you.
He was my idol growing up. And I like his authentic way. How he's just no airs and graces, just does what it says on the tin. Sparred Joe Joyce, and then COVID happened.
What's it like sparring Joe Joyce? Because he just looks like granite chin, juggernaut.
Especially when I was sparring him when he was like really coming up and was a real force. He still is a force now, don't get me wrong. He can still a big old unit. But when he was like in a purple patch fighting Joe Parker and stuff. We're really good friends. Speak to him every day, but we have battered each other seriously, and it's like. It's so weird. It's a weird dynamic. We'll be in the Vegas house, all getting ready to spar, talking about conspiracy theories, talking about all this random stuff that guys talk about. And then we're like, right, let's get in the car, let's go. Gets a bit quiet. You're getting a bit tense before sparring. You glove up, you put your protection on, put your head guard on. Absolutely knock 7 lumps out of each other, 6 lumps out of each other for 6 rounds, 8 rounds. Then we just go and get a bit of food afterwards like nothing's happened, and we wake up and do it again the next day. But that's why I think we've become good friends, because we've shared that struggle together. And I enjoyed helping him, especially before the Joe Parker fight. He was in unbelievable condition, and to be able to learn off him was amazing.
Yeah. How strong is he?
He is Joe Joyce. One of the strongest and one of the fittest men I've ever met. I remember being on a rowing machine with him, and my heart was in the yellow red zone. This is about 4 years ago, and I was struggling to keep up. He was in the blue zone, and his heart was on about 70 BPM. I was on about 140, 150, just rowing like with no effort whatsoever. It's just genetically, I think he's gifted like that, and the relentless nature of how he fights was unbelievable when I was sparring him, and that makes you a better fighter,
Do you think this is the end of Joe Joyce now?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the end or not. And I don't like seeing it as the end, because boxing's just one part of your life. Mm-hmm. It is all your life, but he's still a relatively young man, 38, 39. He can do whatever he wants. He's a formidable force. He could be great in some action films, He'd be amazing.
Good looking as well.
He's got the look. He's got the look. He's very clever and intellectual guy as well. He went to university. He's into his history.
Wow.
He likes going down the rabbit hole with the pyramids and things like that, and learning about the royal family and stuff like that. And you have some interesting conversations, but just a really, really articulate man. And when I first met him, he takes a while to warm to people, which I find quite genuine, quite endearing, that he don't just become your mate straight away. And I think that's a good way to be. You build a relationship with people. And once you've got that with him, he's a really good man. And if there's one man I trust on this earth, Joe Joyce is one of them.
That's nice. Let's talk a little bit about the fight coming up on the in the December card with Usyk versus Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
×2. Was you surprised when Usyk beat Tyson?
Not surprised. I know you said Spencer Fury wasn't surprised either when you had him on, but I wanted Fury to win as the Brit, as a Fury fan.
Yeah.
And I thought at one point, round 6, round 7, he was winning the fight and turning the screw, and then out of nowhere, Usyk he got that unbelievable fitness, and it come probably down to his training and his dedication. Doesn't cut corners, and he just turned the screw, knocked Fury down obviously onto the ropes. So credit to him, and Usyk's a formidable guy, and you can only give him credit. And I think the rematch is going to be amazing.
What mistakes do you think Tyson Fury made in that fight?
I spoke to Jimmy Tibbs about this, legendary trainer, obviously dad of my trainer Mark Tibbs. And he said, he looked good. He lost weight, but not always good to lose weight as a heavyweight. He might have been better off being 19, 20 stone. I don't know what their plan was in the camp. I'm not an expert on their camp. I'm not trying to tell them what to do, but it made sense to me. If you're a big guy, you might not look body beautiful. You never will. And maybe that bit of weight might have helped him. Could have hindered him. Could have made him a bit slower. But sometimes losing weight lowers your punch resistance. You haven't got as much energy. You might look a bit better, but it might just be a little bit of an aesthetic thing rather than an actual fitness thing, Look at there's been some massive guys in the past. George Foreman, when he came back, was a big old unit. Larry Holmes hasn't always been the most ripped guy, You don't have to be completely chiselled or thingy to... You have to be completely chiselled to be a great fighter. Some fighters are naturally like that, but being a bigger guy, sometimes you've got to use that weight, and maybe coming in a stone or two heavier wouldn't have been a bad thing.
What does Tyson need to do differently apart from the weight this time?
That uppercut he was throwing was really effective when he was throwing that. I thought that was good. Maybe a little bit less showboating, but that's why we love Tyson Fury, because he is like that. And if he won that fight, we would have been singing his praises, saying he showboated at the same time. But that can all make a difference. That's another 2-3%. Maybe would have helped some energy down the line. But he's the bigger man. He's got to use that as best he can and keep sticking that big jab in his face, whether it's a big hard jab or a sticky little annoying jab, you know, use that, and then you can blind him with that, and we'll keep bringing that uppercut, because I thought them uppercuts were beautiful he was hitting him with.
It was a shock when Usyk hit him straight
Yeah,
on the face.